motor labs are so great because they incorporate so many different components: gross motor, fine motor, visual motor, sensory integration. They can incorporate primitive reflexes. You can incorporate some regulation visuals and tools. So they really help with all areas of child development. But they also provide a movement break, which we advocate all the time for sensory movement, brain breaks in the classroom. And so a motor lab provides exactly that.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica. And this is All Things Sensory by Harkla.
We are both certified occupational therapy assistants, and together with Harkla, we are on a mission to empower parents, therapists, and educators to help raise confident and strong children of all abilities.
On this podcast, we chat about all things sensory, diving into special needs, occupational therapy, parenting, self-care, overall health and wellness, and so much more.
We are here to provide raw, honest, and fun strategies, ideas, and information for parents, therapists, and educators, as well as other professionals to implement into daily life.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey there, welcome back to All Things Sensory by Harkla. We are thrilled to have you here today. I'm Rachel.
I'm Jessica.
And today we are talking about motor labs in the classroom, what they are, how to set them up, and why they can benefit all students.
And then we'll answer a listener question at the end.
Oh, we do have a listener question
on this one,
here.
yes.
Okay, great, good.
So what is a motor lab?
So a motor lab is a space where a sequence of activities is set up, circuit style, that teachers can take their students to engage in a movement or sensory activity.
You know what?
What?
I just had a memory come up.
Oh, good. I love those.
When I was doing my field work a million years ago.
You did it in the school.
One of my field works was in the school setting. And one of the schools that we went to was, I think it was a Head Start preschool. And the OT I was with used the gym, in this little tiny school, used the gym for what we would call a motor lab. And every week she would set up some sort of like obstacle course or circuit, and then she would have her classes go through it.
The whole class.
She would have the whole class because she did push in versus pull out. And I'm pretty sure it was a Head Start. It's a little bit different than a, public school. But so the whole class would go through, but then she was working with specific students, so she would focus on them.
Cool.
And I remember that was like my assignment in that specific school during my field work. I was in like 4 different schools. I was in a different school every day, I think, of the week. But on the day when we were in that school, it was my job to set up that obstacle course or motor lab.
I love that.
For the students.
Oh, and it all comes full circle.
And I just had a flashback of that in the little gym. And I would use all of the PE equipment, hula hoops and cones. And there was a little mat, crash pad, some balance items, different fine motor activities for all the little 4 and 5-year-olds.
Okay, well, I originally was introduced to this concept by Kim Wiggins, who has a course on Sensational Brain about motor labs and sensory paths. And I remember taking that course even before I owned Sensational Brain, and I was like, what? This is so cool. Just because of the activities and the setup and, all of what goes into a motor lab. Specifically, it was just so fascinating to me. And I've never worked in a school before, so I haven't had the opportunity to set this up in a school setting, but we set it up as obstacle courses and circuits in the clinic all the time.
Yep.
And basically, what we're going to talk about today is why motor labs are beneficial, how they can be helpful, give you some examples of activities you can use to set up in your motor lab. But first, we explained it, so you know what it is. Now, why are they helpful?
Recap, we explained it. Really, motor labs are so great because they incorporate so many different components: gross motor, fine motor, visual motor, sensory integration. They can incorporate primitive reflexes. You can incorporate some regulation visuals and tools. So they really help with all areas of child development. But they also provide a movement break, which we advocate all the time for sensory movement, brain breaks in the classroom. And so a motor lab provides exactly that.
Yeah, and I just like that you can work on such specific skills, all of the underlying skills that kids need to be successful in the classroom. You can work on all of those skills in this motor lab by setting up the different sequences and activities that we'll talk about. But you can just set up so many different activities that are going to benefit every child, not just the ones who need a sensory break or who are, having challenges in certain areas. They're really helpful for every student.
Yeah. So how do you build a motor lab? How do you know what to include in it? What are the different areas?
I think first is like finding a space. So if there are empty classrooms, if there is an empty hallway that doesn't get used very often, if there is, a space in the gym or I wouldn't say a space outside, because ideally we want it to be the same every week. And we have the instructions already
in the same
out.
place every week.
In the same place.
Yes.
I think the activities should be pretty similar for a while before you change them, to let the kids go and practice and get the hang of them before we change it. You might disagree, but that's okay. But I just think, for some of the skills, I would want them to really practice. And, if they're only going once a day to the motor lab, they're going to have to go, for a couple of weeks and really master those skills. But having a designated location, an empty classroom, an empty closet, I don't know.
Might be a little small.
But having a place, and then having all of the instructions for the activities printed out, having pictures of each activity taped onto the wall. So the sequence is the same. They come in, they all go to a specific station. We set the timer for 90 seconds. They all do the activity for, maybe there's 3 kids in each group at each station. They do each activity for 30 seconds, and then they rotate to the next activity. So it's just this very fluid sequence and movement within this room. Takes 10 minutes, and then they go back to the classroom and carry on with their day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's like a great recipe or guideline, and then you can move things and change things as needed for the students.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what some of our favorite activities that you can put into the motor lab stations.
First one would be maybe some tunnels for some crawling. Add some balance beams or balance buckets. Oh my gosh, there's so many different items out there nowadays of, balance stepping stones. Anything like that is great. Jumping spots could be anything from just like a piece of paper that's taped to the floor, or a piece of tape that's on the floor that the students can jump on or over or between. Hula hoops are great. You can do so many different things with hula hoops.
Cones, agility ladders.
Oh, the agility ladder is one of my favorites.
Yep. And then some fine motor stations. You could have little baskets for tweezers or chopsticks or tongs or lacing cards, Theraputty, and they have to lay on their tummies while they're doing these stations. And they have the baskets of each of the activities. So each kiddo could grab a basket, and they move all the things with the tongs, and then they have to put all the things back into the putty if they pulled all the things out, which, by the way, we were doing that in our course last week that we were recording, pulling all the things out of the putty. My hands were so tired.
So it actually works.
It actually works. Oh my goodness. So there you go.
Also add in some like visual motor, ocular motor components with some visual charts on the wall, on the floor. Do some ball bouncing and catching. Maybe you have targets on the wall and the child uses the playground ball to throw at the target and catch as it bounces back. Bean bags are great. The child can toss the bean bags into the hula hoops, or they can toss the bean bags to each other. They can toss the bean bags up and try to clap before they catch the bean bag. A stomp and catch is a great thing to add. All the kids love stomp and catch.
Just thinking the twist and turns, over unders, having the targets on the wall behind them. Even like infinity loops. You could have an infinity loop on the floor with painter's tape. You could have it on the wall. You could use laser pointers, and they have to stand on a wiggle seat and then twist and turn, and spell their name with a laser pointer. Incorporating those primitive reflex activities obviously have to be included. So things like crawling, cat-cows, lizard crawl, snow angels, popcorn or peanut rocking, sit walks, mummy walks, animal walks.
All the walks.
All the walks. You could even include some of those activities in the transition to the motor lab as well.
Also scooter boards. Definitely get the scooter boards out and use those.
The snowball grabber, the snowball maker. Those are fantastic.
Those are the best. Yep. Crash pads are great. Push the crash pads, crawl under the crash pads, log roll across the crash pads. Medicine balls, if you can get some different sizes and weights of medicine balls for some heavy work, pushing the medicine balls through the tunnel, having a piece of tape on the floor to do medicine ball slams, or having some painter's tape along the wall and you roll the medicine ball along the painter tape path on the wall.
Rolling the painter's tape along the path would be really hard too.
Rolling the medicine ball along the painter's tape path. I have no idea what I said.
Yeah, but I was just thinking rolling the painter's tape would be really hard too.
Yeah, it would.
What was I just thinking about? Having a little trampoline to jump on the trampoline, to do math facts, or to spell words, or to catch a ball with a partner.
There's so many different things.
Metronome activities. You could just turn on a metronome over the loudspeaker in the room.
Oh gosh,
is that possible?
Really loud. Might be overstimulating.
Or just have the metronome at the specific station and doing the metronome activity. Just grab our balanced brain program and then put in like 5 of the activities from the program.
There you go, and modify as needed.
Exactly.
Yes.
Print off those visuals too and laminate those and use those.
Yep.
So there you have it, a full-on motor lab set up for you. Pick, 5 activities and set those up, and have the students rotate between them, and then in a couple of weeks switch the activities and have them do the next activities and so forth. One more thing that we wanted to kind of brainstorm about, you may get a little bit of pushback from admin, hopefully not, saying like, how is this benefiting academics? And there's honestly so much research out there that shows how movement is beneficial for academics and will actually increase test scores. So you have that on your side. And then, doing an in-service and teaching them about the underlying skills that we're working on when we're doing a motor lab like this. We're working on the fine motor skills. We're working on the cognitive processing, the timing, the executive functioning skills, all of the underlying things that they need in order to be successful in the classroom. We need to work on these and meet the needs of all of the students. And so maybe just hosting a lunch and learn and training the staff on how to use the motor lab, why it's important, all of the activities and why they're beneficial. That could be a really helpful tool to provide your school.
Yeah, and we will link Kim Wiggins' course on Sensational Brain. We'll link that in the show notes because she does like a deep dive, and if you're an OT practitioner, you can get CEUs from the course. So yeah, there you go.
So moral of the story, are we repeating again? Motor labs are really beneficial. Teach the kids how to do the activities, teach the staff, do an in-service, be consistent with it, and have those expectations up front of what's expected, and make it fun, make it exciting, make it a challenge. You do some of the activities with the kids and see if you can, balance on one leg longer or whatever you have in there. But just make it fun, make it an experience. Find a place that you can, maybe do this permanently. I know in Kim's course, they actually renovated the school and made an entire hallway, a new hallway for the sensory paths and the motor labs for her.
Which, if every school had that, that'd be great.
I know. So awesome. Just start advocating. Let us know if you make it happen. And sensory paths are great too. Sensory paths are really, really fun and unique, but I just feel like there's a lot more you can do in order to meet those needs. So
definitely.
Lots of options out there, but let us know if this was helpful.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we'll do a listener question.
Okay.
Listener question says, my 2-year-old son just weaned off of breastfeeding. He was very much seeking all night with his mouth banging, his chin on everything. He's now seeking proprioceptive input while sleeping. He hates blankets and weighted blankets. I'm not sure what else I can do. I want him to sleep in his own room, but he keeps looking for me to squeeze or rock him.
Okay. So first things first, I would make sure that, where do we even start? First things, making sure that his tongue is suctioning to the roof of the mouth. He's sleeping with his mouth closed, because that will help regulate his nervous system, stimulate his vagus nerve. So rule that out, or make sure that he is sleeping with his mouth in the proper position. And then make sure you're doing enough gross motor, big body movements, sensory input, outdoor play, outside, before bed, during the day as well, to help him meet that high sensory threshold. Blanket swinging, rocking during the day, maybe some passive rhythmic movements during the day, crawling throughout the day. Just try to meet that need during the day rather than at night, and see if we can give them enough input. Drinking smoothies from straws can help get more of that oral input as well. Vibration could be really helpful. So that's where my brain goes to start.
I think those are all great tips. If you find that he is sleeping with his mouth open, or if he does have an open mouth posture during the day, then you want to go get that looked at, get, the tongue tie ruled out. It's quite possible that he's got a tongue tie if he has that open mouth posture.
Find an oral, a myofunctional therapist in your area if possible.
Yep. And then we have 2 courses that might be helpful. The first one would be our early intervention blueprint, which is designed for children birth to 3 or 4 years old, or the sensory diet course. I think I'd lean more towards the sensory diet course, because it really helps you identify what sensory input he needs more of, and how to build a sensory diet routine during the day, and then a bedtime sensory diet routine to help meet his sensory needs so that he can sleep well.
Yeah.
That would be my go-to.
Yeah, definitely more input in an organized fashion. And, just keep in mind he's 2, and you might just have to be patient and just be there with him to support him. I was there just a year ago, weaning my 2-year-old as well, who slept with me from day 1 until day, 700?
Oh, something. Wow. I don't know.
Yeah. High need sleepers, Mm-hmm. But there is hope, I will say. I mean, she's sleeping through the night in her own bed now.
Perfect.
So fingers crossed for you.
Yep. Just patience. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, let us know if you have any questions on this topic of motor labs. Let us know if you have any success stories. Take a picture, take a screenshot, tag us at All Things Sensory Podcast. Leave us a review on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube. And we appreciate you being here and hanging out with us today.
All right, we'll be back with another podcast next week.
Okay, bye. Thank you so much for listening to All Things Sensory by Harkla.
If you want more information on anything mentioned in the show, head over to harkla.co/podcast to get the show notes.
If you have any follow-up questions, the best place to ask those is in the comments on the show notes, or message us on our Instagram account, which is at harkla_family or at All Things Sensory Podcast. If you just search Harkla, you'll find us there.
Like we mentioned before, our podcast listeners get 10% off their first order at Harkla. Whether it's for one of our digital courses or one of our sensory swings, the discount code SENSORY will get you 10% off. That's SENSORY.
Head to harkla.co/sensory to use that discount code right now.
We are so excited to work together to help create confident kids all over the world. While we make every effort to share correct information, we're still learning.
We will double check all of our facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art.
One doctor or therapist may have a different way of doing things from another.
We are simply presenting our views and opinions on how to address common sensory challenges, health-related difficulties, and what we have found to be beneficial that will be as evidence-based as possible.
By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or your child.
Consult your child's pediatrician or therapist for any medical issues that he or she may be having.
This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast.
Thanks so much for listening.